Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. So as you can see from the title of this video, this is the first one that I'm putting in kind of like a series for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. If you don't know, October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, and my plan was to make a couple videos every week during October, but it's just been so busy, and I had the Remembrance Walk with Forever Footprints for Braxton last week, so I figured I don't have to only post these types of videos in October. They could drag into November, or I can post them whenever I want to raise awareness. Today's video will be a little bit different. It's something that I've been wanting to do actually for a while, is to have other moms come on my channel and share their stories and their experiences. I did it once before during a Forever Footprints event, the Mother's Day, if anybody saw that vlog. I got to have Harley's mom and Liam's mom kind of share a little bit of their stories. But today I'm gonna have Amanda, who's Juniper's mom. I always talk about her on my channel. And Megan, who is Liam's mom. And they're also going to join me in talking about their experience being a mom after a full-term stillbirth. So I kind of made a list of the things that I wanted to talk about, and the number one thing was anxiety. And I think a lot of you have already noticed that about me. I've talked about it a little bit before. I think since Braxton passed away one day after my due date, and it was just something that I never expected would happen, and stillbirth was something that I didn't know anything about. You know, he was completely healthy, and it was completely unexpected when he passed away, and it was really, really hard for us, obviously. So now that fear has carried over, even during my pregnancy with Breeza, fear of losing her the entire time. And now that she's here, you know, the anxiety it's still here, it doesn't go away. I try to do what I can, I guess, to face those anxieties. Like driving in the car alone with her in the back seat was a really big one, and I conquered that in one of the last vlogs. But the reason why is because I just feel like I have to keep my eyes on her 24/7 to make sure that nothing happens to her. I also had a really major panic attack our first night home with her. By the way, when we were in the hospital with her, I didn't sleep at all because I was already anxious as soon as she came out. I felt like, again, I had to just keep my eyes on her 24/7. I remember drinking coffee in the hospital at 1 in the morning, like chugging coffee so that I could stay awake, and I was just like holding her, and I just had to stay awake and watch her. So by the time that we got home, I was really delirious her first night. And again, I was just like trying to stay awake and watch her. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And I just started crying and like panicking. And I just didn't want to lose her also. Like my heart can't take it. So that's where my anxiety comes from. So another thing is that I feel like I don't fit in, and I think Juniper's mom talks about this in her clip too, but I mean, I felt like this when I was pregnant too, because I was like, okay, I'm pregnant, but this is my second baby, so I don't fit in with moms who are pregnant for the first time, but then I don't fit in with other pregnant women who have their babies here because, you know, like they've been raising their living child, and they don't have the anxiety that I have. So that's another big one now. Also, the fact that a lot of people that I knew that were pregnant like right after I lost Braxton, and they had their babies that are like a few months older than Breeza, and you know, like they have all this mom experience, but I've been a mom longer than they have technically, so that was making me feel really sad at the beginning when we first brought Breeza home, because I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I've been a mom for a year now, and you know, I have no experience doing any of these things. So that was like another thing that I was going through. Yeah, so now I think like the idea of all of these things are a lot worse, and then once I actually go and like try something out and like face my anxiety, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So an example of this is that last week I went on my first like mom and baby date with one of my old coworkers who her baby's he's 5 months old now. So what I had anticipated is that I was gonna hang out with her and it was just gonna make me feel uncomfortable and we weren't gonna have anything to talk about because she doesn't understand and she didn't go through what I went through. But it was actually a really great experience, and I came home feeling really happy that I got to go and, you know, experience that mom and baby date with her, and, you know, just walk on the beach with our strollers and our babies and talk about, you know, raising them. And she's always been really awesome at letting me talk about Braxton and not making me feel awkward about anything like that too. So I had filmed a 1-month postpartum update, and at the time I was really struggling with taking Breeza out on my own. One, because of the whole car seat thing and me not sitting in the back with her. But the other thing was that I hated the idea of people seeing me like the way that I was with her, like the stroller, like putting the car seat on the stroller, and them assuming that this was my first baby. It just, I don't know, it made me feel like kind of embarrassed, more heartbroken actually, because I'm not a first-time mom. I have a baby. And that's another thing too, when I go out in public and people see me with her and they ask if she's my first and I say no. And then I say that I have a 1-year-old and they're kind of like, okay, where's your other baby? And you know, I explain everything to them, and some people make it like really awkward, some people not as much. But I was just talking about this with Jonathan the other day, and he says, you know, it gives us an opportunity to talk about Braxton to people. So that's like a positive way to look at it. So the next thing that's on my list is photos. With Braxton, we were only able to spend 13 hours with him, and I think I have maybe like at the most 10 pictures. And I would have had none if it wasn't for one of the nurses there who convinced me to let them take professional pictures of Braxton. Right when we had Breeza, we immediately just started taking so many pictures because that was like a regret that we had with Braxton. I wish that I had a video of me holding him on my chest just so I can like try to relive that moment, or, you know, remember it as much as I can. With Breeza, if you follow me on Instagram, you might think I'm like one of those moms that goes overboard posting about their baby, but this is why. It's because it's kind of like we feel like we missed out on so many things with Braxton, and now we do them like double time with Breeza, you know, like we're kind of like doing it for both of them, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you look at my phone, I don't know, I probably have like hundreds by now of pictures of Breeza. So yeah, I wouldn't say that this is like a negative thing though. I'm just like so thankful for them, and even when she's asleep, I find myself going and looking at pictures and videos of her. So I wanted to end my portion of the video with something positive, and that is that every single experience with Breeza is something happy and positive for me. What I'm talking about is like when she has blowouts and when she spits up and stuff like that. Diaper changes, those are all like, I don't know, they just make me so happy that I can do these things now. My first vlog with her, you can see that I went into the restroom and like honestly, she didn't even really need a diaper change. Her diaper wasn't that wet, but I just wanted to use the changing table so bad because for a whole year, you know, after Braxton died, I dreaded going into the bathroom and seeing the changing table and just being like my arms were empty. I didn't have my baby here. Like I couldn't change his diaper, and that was something that always haunted me, like seeing the changing table and reminding me like your son's not here. So that's something positive. And you know, her when she wakes up in the middle of the night for feedings, it's something that I honestly appreciate. I get to like snuggle with her and feed her, and I get to take care of her. And you know, after Braxton passed away, I was losing sleep, but that was because I was like really sad and I was just replaying everything in my mind. And now I lose sleep because I get to take care of my daughter. So it's just, she's with Jonathan right now. So yeah, that's something that's just really special to me. I just feel so grateful, so thankful to be able to do these things with her. So that is it for my portion on this video. So following this, you'll hear from Juniper's mom and Leon's mom. And I just wanted to use my platform to let other moms also share their experiences on this.
Hi, I'm Amanda, Juniper and Coral's mom. I feel like I don't fit in with other moms because I've already had to do the worst thing a parent should ever have to do, and that's to say goodbye to one of their children before them. I have a hard time going to new mom and baby groups because I never feel like I fit in. I'm raising my second child, but for the first time. I've called myself and other moms like me a second first-time mom because it's really the only way to describe it. I haven't parented a living child before, but I've parented Junie even though she's not here. I think that parenting a child that isn't here anymore is the hardest kind of parenting. A lot of new parents have anxieties and worries and fears, but being a grieving mom and parenting a living child is so much different, especially when you're parenting your first living child after losing another child. The first time I went to a mom's group, mom and baby group, one of the other new moms there was the girl that works at the funeral home that gave us our daughter's ashes. That is a whole different level of anxiety, of worry, of fear when making mom friends compared to most. Every time I try to make a new mom friend, I always wonder how I should approach the subject of my first daughter with them. It's always hard to share Junie with people because people always meet the fact that my baby died with, "I'm so sorry," and that look of pity, and I hate that look of pity. Coral never gets a look of pity. Coral always gets smiles and happiness and excitement, and people almost view her as my healer, as the happy ending to Junie's terrible story, and I really don't like that approach. So sometimes I'm careful to share Junie with people, how I choose to share her, things like that. I feel like a lot of new moms are so excited to use things like their stroller, their car seat, their crib, the baby's room. And when you're using it for your second child, but for the first time, it's beyond words really. To see the first time you put your child in a crib that was actually meant for its sibling, and then to finally have a living baby in there, it brings you to tears sometimes. I remember the first time I got to push the stroller with Coral in it, with my living baby in it, and I just couldn't stop smiling, and I almost feel like I want to do everything 2 times as many to make up for that last time that I didn't get to experience it with Junie. Everything that I get to see my living baby do is bittersweet. It's so sweet in a way that I finally get to experience parenting a living child, but so bitter in a way that it's a constant reminder that Junie isn't here anymore.
Hi there, I'm Megan, better known as Liam and Gemma's mom in the Instagram world. I am incredibly proud of both of my babies, and I'm just so thankful for this opportunity to share them with you all. Being a second first-time mom is hard on so many levels. It started in pregnancy with the "is this your first?" questions, and it just hasn't gotten much easier. For those who don't know my story, my son Liam was born via emergency C-section at 31 weeks after I went in for reduced movement. He lived for 42 hours in the NICU before we removed life support, a decision no parent should ever have to make. Fast forward 5 months, we found out we were pregnant with our second child, and a few weeks later learned that Liam had died from an ultra-rare genetic disease that my husband and I both carry, with a 25% chance baby girl and any future babies would have it too. Thankfully, genetic testing at 17 weeks showed Gemma did not inherit the disease. Regardless of that good news though, her pregnancy was the hardest thing I've ever done, second to Liam dying. It was filled with triggers, and I felt like it was only a matter of time before Gemma died too, because in my experience, pregnancy ends with death. I monitored her movements obsessively, saw a therapist every week, and got weekly ultrasounds once I was in the 3rd trimester to help me manage my anxiety. I remember I wanted to see the labor and delivery unit before Gemma's birthday, so that way I wasn't going to the hospital for the first time since Liam had died on the big day. Turns out the hospital requires parents to take their birth class in order to get a tour. Pregnancy after loss puts you in a really fragile state, and I had zero desire to take a birth class with first-time moms, and I can guarantee they did not want to hear my birth story during introductions. Anyway, so the hospital wouldn't make an exception for me, even though I had just taken birth classes and literally given birth less than a year ago. I ended up getting my own private tour of sorts when I went in for cramping one late night around 35 weeks, which took me right back to when I went in to get checked with Liam. It was really freaking hard. I'm not sure people realize how hard every single moment is when you're pregnant again after stillbirth or infant loss. My son's death has affected me to my core. I've said before on my Instagram, loss is not only the lens through which I parent, it is the very foundation of my parenting. Since Gemma was born, alive and screaming, I'm anxious about the normal mom stuff, like leaving her when I go to run an errand, or her getting sick or dying in her sleep. But everything is amplified tenfold by my trauma and grief. Some days I can't turn off the cycle of what ifs because I know what it's like when that worst case scenario happens. Other days it's just an overwhelming sense of dread that she'll die too. I know it can happen to anyone at any time. Death doesn't discriminate. Other days feel more normal, but the loss is always there. One of the things I really struggle with is people treating me like I'm a first-time mom. Even though I'm experiencing so many firsts with Gemma, she's my second child. Well-meaning advice or comments like, "Oh, I was that way with my first," are a sharp reminder that I didn't get to parent Liam in the ways I thought I would, and I never will. My loss has also made me a better mom to Gemma. I'm present with her, soaking up every smile, milestone, wet diaper, and late night because I know any one of them could be our last. I parent Liam by setting aside time to connect, telling his story, and raising awareness about pregnancy and infant loss. Ultimately, I'm just like any other mom trying to juggle life with two kids, just one of my babies is not in my arms.
So that's all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope maybe you learned something new if you knew someone who has gone through this. When I asked for topics to talk about for Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, I actually ended up getting a lot of questions. So I am planning to answer those and do, I guess, like a Pregnancy Infant Loss Awareness Month Q&A. That was a long one. So stay tuned for that. And I'm also going to film a postpartum update. So I filmed the 1 month postpartum update, but something happened to the video files after I finished editing it. I couldn't figure out how to upload it. Something happened to those files, but I'll do an updated one. Maybe I'll do it with Breeza. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.